Welcome to episode 3. It's your Monster Energy Racer X season preview shows. It is Monster Energy AMA Supercross, part of the Super Motocross World Championship for 2023. Jason Weigandt here. Steve Matthes, Jason Thomas. JT, 16 years as a pro. Matthes, several decades going to these races. Some as a greaseball mechanic.
Yes, some would say too long.
26 years?
26 years.
26 years,
yeah.
yes. I'm entering, I think, season 22 as a journalist and broadcaster in the sport. Let's break down more contenders in the 450 class for the 2023 season. Today we're going to talk about Dylan Ferrandis, Adam Cianciarulo, and teammates Marvin Musquin and Aaron Plessinger, who are on Red Bull KTM. Let's just start there. Feast and famine for KTM group last year. A lot of hype. New motorcycle. Didn't work out for most. But quietly, Marvin Musquin snuck in a win.
Well, I mean, we had 450 Supercross main event winners last year?
In the first 4 rounds.
Yeah.
4 out of 4. It looked like it was going to be an unbelievable season.
So hold on. We had 5 then total all year long.
Yes. Only one other guy got on there.
Why not put the guy that won in episode 3? Why not? Yeah, why just...
Oh, you're saying Marv should be moved up. He shouldn't be in this show.
Well, can we get an episode 2 for Marv?
Well, like I got a nice little theme here with him and Plessinger together as teammates.
All
right, sorry. Steve is very upset with the rankings. I'm glad you're not the subject of his wrath. Marvin Musquin beat Ken Roczen and the rest of the world straight up at Red Bull Straight Rhythm. I know we don't take much out of that, but he won a Supercross race in 21 and 22. What's not to love?
Well, I think the big question for Marv is he's just getting older.
Yeah.
Right? The consistency's there. The performance is still there, but you look at like his contract battle last year, there was some uncertainty whether he was going to stay at Red Bull KTM. And I think it's just because everybody's looking at it like, man, like you've been around a long time. Like how long are you going to keep up this level of performance? But he keeps proving everyone wrong. You look at Paris, okay, he didn't win, but he was pretty good. He passes his teammate Cooper Webb at that event. So I don't really see any reason for a huge drop-off yet. I think that they probably made some strides with the motorcycle. That will be a storyline for 2023. But if you told me he won a race and got 3 or 4 podiums, I'd be like, yeah, that's typically what Marv does.
Marv has been so solid for so long, probably underrated, right, as a rider and everything else. But last year, I mean, we saw some horrible Marvin Musquin races. San Diego comes to mind. Another couple races where he ran up front and just got shuffled back. That never happened to Marv, right?
In the past, yeah.
Yeah, in the past. So then you're like writing his obituary as a racer, and you're like, oh, well, that's, he's done, right? And then he gets better, and then he wins a race, and, he looks as good as ever. He jumps on a 250 for Paula. He goes to Destinations. He rides straight rhythm. Yeah, so, kind of feel like it's a tale of 2 halves for Marv. And so, to me, as much as variance as we saw in him, I look for more of the same.
So what I point to in 2022 were the whoops were historically difficult in 2022, right? And Marv has made his living finding ways to get through difficult whoops in unique ways. He jumps, he rhythm, he wheel tap, he does all the things that a guy like Tomac and those guys hate doing. They just want to blitz, get on top, and figure it out. Marv, that's not his strength, but he is very wily. He'll figure out a way, a la Cooper Webb. When the main event comes around, they get it done. The whoops in 2022, you could not do that. You look at races like Anaheim 2, San Diego that we talked about where he goes from 1st to 10th. You just had to blitz the whoops, and if you couldn't blitz them well, guess what? You were getting passed and passed quickly. So that will be a question for me is how do they build the tracks? And if it's the same type theme where you have to blitz the whoops and you have to blitz them well, whether or not they fix the motorcycle to help him or not will shine through. That's going to be, to me, when you talk about Marv, what do we expect? That's going to be the question.
You went to Paris. You saw the whoops. Ken Roczen was out of his mind fast on a Honda in those whoops.
So was Justin Brayton. I really hate to bring that up.
He was great. But the KTM guys, well, they got better as the weekend went on at least?
They got better as the weekend went on because the whoops got smaller.
Oh,
They got rolled, right? So the whoops got smaller,
yeah.
And they got better, yes. But when the whoops were the nastiest, they were not good. And we were back to seeing what we saw in Supercross. Now, I've been told there's been enough of a stink from all sorts of teams, not just the Austrian ones, that the whoops will be smaller in Supercross in 2023.
Okay.
That we will not see these massive sections again. We'll see how that goes as of this taping. So maybe Marv will be all right in those. But yeah, JT's point is excellent. He gets it done, but it's not by blitzing for the most part.
Last year there were all these team switches, and it was great for most riders. Tomac got better, Jason Anderson got better, Malcolm Stewart got better. Did not get better for Aaron Plessinger. Looked good. Round 2. Goes out and gets 2nd place. Leads some laps. Looks like it's going to be a banner season. Never saw that level again. Then he got hurt. Came back for outdoors. Was okay. So now all of a sudden a bit of a question mark here for AP. Can he get back to the level? Because 2 years ago people were thinking, ooh, this could be the next guy.
Can I just say that, and AP knows about this, so I can break this now or whatever, but there was an industry person that I bet $1,000 with that Aaron Plessinger would not get a top 5 at Oakland.
Not going to be top 5 that night.
That night?
Oh, great move. You picked one race.
The one race that he got top 5 in was that race.
Are you serious?
And then never did it again.
He didn't have a single top 5 after that?
No.
And you paid $1,000.
And this gentleman took the bet and, showed up, and I paid him, and that's what happened. And then he never made top 5 again.
Your problem was betting that gentleman who is a guru. He is a Hall of Famer at betting.
Well, you all told me this afterwards.
No, you knew better. You knew better.
As well.
But anyway, so
if that gentleman wants to bet you, there's a reason he wants to bet you, and you should not do it.
Run away.
Yes.
So anyway, so good on Aaron. That was a great race. Oakland wasn't fantastic. And then, he exited with an injury not long after that. An up and down season. Not happy with the motorcycle like a lot of guys over there. Not a great test rider, self-admitted, from AP. So I do wonder if some gains have been made by Coop and Marv and other people, and they'll pass it on to AP, who will then just laugh and do really well out there.
Let's find out about this KTM situation. And by the way, this would also affect the new Gas, which is switched to that program and platform, and Husqvarna's as well. Let's send it to our testing guru, Kris Keefer, for his take on the Austrian bikes.
All right, so the Austrian guys, now we got Barsha back on the new frame. We all saw Cooper Webb and Marvin Musquin in Paris. Didn't have the best time in the whoops. That's kind of been the theme, right? We've been hearing Cooper and Marv haven't been really stoked on these new generation frames from KTM as far as whoops go. You watch anywhere else on the track, you watch Marv and you watch Coop, they are superb around the whole track besides the whoop section. And we all know Marv is a jumper through the whoops. Cooper can kind of have a blend of both, but Cooper's been in California a lot, right, preseason. So they've been working on hard pack whoops. The softer whoops seems to not be an issue with the KTM chassis. So it's funny to me that KTM actually had to wait this long to get to work, to get some parts. But from what I've heard, it's taken a long time post-COVID to get some of these parts that they want. They have them now. Cooper is happier. Let's not just calm down a little bit and say he's not stoked on the chassis, but he's in a happier spot. From what I've heard, Marv has been the fastest preseason. No surprise to me. We obviously, Weege and the guys were out there for the media side of things on the KTM, and Marv looked really good, and all the guys internally say Marv's been superb. But what I'm curious and what I think is going to be really cool to see is we got Malcolm Stewart, we got Christian Craig. Look, people don't really talk about Malcolm. Like, second in the series last year. Solid guy. We complain about the whoops. You watch Malcolm go through the whoops one time, it shatters all of those opinions, right? So there's some of that there, but I also really concerned. I have a group message with me, Matthes, and Christian. Me and Matthes always hound him. Is the bike good in the whoops? He says, I'm just as good in the whoops on my Husqvarna versus my Yamaha. So that is not going to be an issue, I think, in 2023. But unlike what everybody thinks, I do think Cooper is going to win some races. He's going to be back. It's funny how our industry forgets about riders when they have a couple bad races. You know what? I've been on the Cooper bandwagon for a long time. I even bought some merch this season. That's right. Christmas time came early for me. Cooper Webb merch in the house. So I'm going to ride that train. I think he's going to be the best steel-framed rider in 2023, Cooper Webb.
All right, that's Kris Keefer. Now it is time for my Maxxis Where the Rubber Meets the Road. I'm going to actually step up the game here. I'm going to take the Maxxis water bottle. I'm going to put in some Monster Energy. Big shout out to our sponsors. Monster Energy, our title, Maxxis, Fly Racing, and Maxima. So where's the rubber going to meet the road? I feel like the critical juncture out of everyone we're talking about in this particular show, it is Aaron Plessinger. I think if Dylan Ferrandis, you've already proven yourself. Even if you have another down season, you're good. Marvin Musquin, you're playing house money. You've won races. You've been good. I'm not worried about the future for any of those guys. I think if Plessinger has a down season, it's really going to affect his job prospects going forward. We love the personality of Plessinger, right? It's great, right?
Most people do.
Yes.
Yeah.
But can you not see the way this sport works if he has two mediocre seasons in a row? People saying like, he doesn't train, he's not serious enough, he doesn't want enough. It can be a blessing and a curse. So there it is. That's where the rubber meets the road. Aaron Plessinger, you've got to step it up and at least contend for wins this year. I think more than anyone on this list. The future is going to be determined for him this season. What do you think?
I can't deal with this guy. There's
What?
There's another rider
What?
on this list that should absolutely be where your rubber meets the road segment. I mean, JT. So he didn't even mention it. Adam Cianciarulo. This is the lowest level of AC hype we've ever had.
Yep.
Maybe in his career, right? Going back to when he made his debut. This is a big year for him. He's got some more time at Monster Energy Kawasaki, but like whether he's going to do it or not, and we know he's battling some stuff with his arms and his shoulders. This is it, I think. Like, this is a huge year. I don't know if Adam can miss as many races as he did, come out, not perform, miss more races, and then all of us expect for him to get the same level.
Well, and I would question how much longer he wants to do that. How many more times does he want to go down and face this long rehabilitation program and have to rebuild himself mentally, physically, come back? I don't think he's in a place where he wants to keep doing that. So I think it's really important, not only for his career, results, team, all that, to get – it doesn't even have to be where he goes out and wins races. Just have some sort of consistency. Stay on the track for every race, do every lap of the season. And if that means you're in third, great. If that means you win, great. If that means you're in eighth, okay. But he's got to find a way to finish these series for his own good. I don't think the team has plans of getting rid of him, but I'm just saying for his psyche, for him to be like, okay, I'm still in this thing and I can still do this, he's got to find a way to stay in this series.
I did a podcast with him. He said that this is the season he's going to build, or this season series is looking forward to building a base for him.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, that's fine, but your bad shoulder can't feel arms, you still led laps. So your floor, Adam Cianciarulo's floor, is leading laps, right?
Yeah, with one arm. He was leading laps.
With one arm.
Yes.
But
yes.
all of that you're saying, when he puts his helmet on and when that gate drops, I don't think any of that matters anymore. And that's kind of the point I was making is I want to see him do all those things. I think to the point you're making, he's coming into this series just like, I just want to stay in it and get something to build off of. But I think deep down, and it's like the switch we always say gets flipped by these guys, right? They put their helmet on, the lights come on in the stadium, and the gate drops, and you just go back to who you are and what you know. And I don't know if that's good or bad. I would say it's probably not ideal for Adam because I think all he's ever known is being at the front and winning.
Tiger's always going to Tiger?
That's what it is. Like he's so good, right?
Yeah.
That he's gonna find himself at the front. He just is.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying to him. Like you're building a base is probably still leading laps.
Yeah.
It
right?
was last year.
Yeah, and so
but that puts him in a precarious spot.
Sure.
You know.
He was fighting through that shoulder and arm stuff, and then he did his knee in, right? This is the longest he's been off the bike as far as races.
That's crazy.
This is the longest
Yeah.
he's been. And think about him; he's missed some time. But there's a low level of hype, Weege, maybe ever, and that's why this should be your rubber meets the road from Maxis is Adam Cianciarulo.
The reason I put a difference is I feel like it's going to be a physical yes or no with Adam. I don't know how much control he has over it. It's either going to work or it's not going to work. These injuries are either something he can or cannot overcome, and there's not a lot of gray area.
I don't
feel
think
like
he's 100%.
I don't either.
do not think he's 100% coming into Anaheim 1.
I don't either. So I don't know if he can even overcome that or not. That's a yes-no easy question.
Okay.
I think with Plessinger, there's gray area where I think Adam can determine his own future and say, I'm physically fine, I'm good, or I'm not. Plessinger, it's all going to be results-based.
Okay.
He's got to show the potential. And I hate that the industry is going to work this way where if Plessinger has 2 mediocre years, they're going to be like, stop laughing. Why don't you work harder? Why don't you train? It's so dumb, but that's what you hear as soon as you have lackluster results.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yep.
That's the Cianciarulo talk. But
Yeah, it is alarming because I think everybody wants to see Cianciarulo up front and winning races. I think the whole industry and the fans, and now even as competitors, I don't think they like seeing a guy suffer to
I don't
this
think
degree.
Cooper Webb wants to see that.
Okay, maybe one guy. Maybe one guy. But I think eventually everybody's like, man, if I was in that situation, I would feel terrible. I want to pull out of it.
this guy and Daniel Blair want him to keep racing because otherwise he's going to be the pit reporter.
Oh, is that the problem?
Yeah,
No, he's
They're
going in the
actually-
booth.
yeah.
So
He's
he
going
has
to the booth. We could all be in trouble.
So everyone is, and maybe you start the podcast and
Yeah.
boots me out.
Yep.
So maybe.
Bubba's World, look out. You look out.
Right.
RC, you're getting booted.
Romo,
Yeah.
Right.
whoever. Everybody's at risk.
Stay
Yes,
on the track,
exactly.
Adam. Stay on the track.
Stay on the track. Yeah, if anyone's running for political office, look out. You
Yeah.
want them to keep racing.
Sure.
One other rider to talk about, I do want to mention our sponsors, though. Monster Energy, our title sponsor, and I'm telling you what, it's going down quite nicely. Also, Fly, Maxis, and Maxima. Yeah, I enjoy it. Speaking of Monster Energy, so much talk about Eli Tomac and how great he was in Supercross, switching to Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing. We had big hype and expectations on Dylan Ferrandis last year in Supercross. He didn't live up to it. I think he had one podium. He did eventually leave the series with an injury, but he wasn't kicking butt and taking names even before that. So are we going to finally see the Ferrandis that we expect? I think he's going to be a lot better, and people are maybe sleeping on him a little bit. I expect big things from Dylan this year.
I texted with him a little bit.
Okay.
Likes the new bike. Very much a fan of that. Very much not a fan of the old model indoors.
Yep.
But, he did come back for outdoors for 3 rounds. And
barely.
Okay.
Yeah.
He ran second for a little while in a moto.
Yeah.
But we didn't see the defending champions.
But Motocross of Nations, we did.
We did.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. He gave
We
Sexton
did.
all he could handle. Yeah. At Donations.
But to me, the Donations was more of he eventually made a mistake.
Yeah.
Right?
But his
And
pace was incredible.
It was, but maybe that's why he goes down, because his pace was too much.
Yeah.
We've seen some, there's been times in Supercross where he pulled in the mechanics area and then, beat the leader. There's times where his lap times are third fastest in the night. And like his trainer, David Villeman, told me a few times when I mentioned these great things, none of that matters. Shut up, right?
He's right, though.
David
he's
Villeman
right.
is the opposite.
He's right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Everybody else finds the one shred of good. He will tear that down.
Yeah, his trainer, David Villeman, was not having any of that. And ultimately, JT, you're right. None of that really matters. It's time.
Yeah, and I personally don't think that we're going to see some breakout year from Ferrandis in Supercross. I really don't. Is he going to show speed at times? Yes, to your point. He's going to be really fast some days and some nights, but I have not seen him possess the ability to avoid the mistakes. And
Indoors.
Yes, indoors.
Yep.
Over the course of 17 rounds, if you make consistent mistakes, they will bite you, and they will bite you almost every weekend. So if you told me that Ferrandis is going to get some podiums here and there, I would say, okay, I can buy into that. But if you're telling me this is going to be a breakout year where he's there week in and week out and he's a legitimate title contender or podium contender for the series, I'm not there. I'm not there because I have history on my side of saying that's not what he does in Supercross. So if he breaks out, great. I'm here for it. It will be wildly entertaining to watch him do that. But I just haven't seen him and his game in Supercross be able to get starts consistently and then avoid the mistakes consistently. And in the end, that's what matters.
I wanted to bring up the starts. Going into last season, I said, okay, he's got great momentum from motocross, but the starts have to get better. The mistakes and the bad starts, JT, those things are welded together. When you're in 9th and 10th every week in a Supercross, half the time the mistakes aren't even your fault. And
Right.
he has never been a good starter at any point.
And DV told me starts don't matter.
But the problem with that is,
Yeah.
okay, when he was racing the 250 class, when he was winning races and titles and all that, it probably doesn't. He's so much better. But when you go down the list of these guys we're talking about, if you get a bad start, you're going to expect him to pass Sexton, Tomac, Webb, just go name whoever.
Yeah.
You have to pass those guys?
Yeah.
That's not a fair ask, right?
Yeah.
We're asking the question, can Ferrandis be in the mix? Not, can he get a bad start and overcome all those things to get in the mix? So that's really where the difficulty comes in, is can he run the pace? Sure, but if you're consistently going to start 10th, good luck getting to the podium each week.
I talked to Brad, who runs the Star Racing 450 program, and he said as good as Eli was last year, they chased it all year. They never had Ferrandis where they wanted with the bike. They're hoping that this 2023 will show the real Dylan Ferrandis. Ferrandis was awesome on a 250 in Supercross.
So far, he likes the 23.
Yes.
Yep.
And I know that because of the 450 outdoor title, he gets kind of branded as an outdoor guy. He has 2 250 Supercross titles. He's no joke in a stadium. He's got to fix those starts. Okay, so we've gone through this group. We have Adam Cianciarulo. We have Aaron Plessinger. We have Marvin Musquin. We have Dylan Ferrandis. Rubber meets the road to me for Aaron Plessinger. Who is your pick to shine, Steve Matthes, out of this 4-pack?
Before I do that with the SC1, MaximaUSA.com, PulpMX Fantasy, pay to play, over $150,000 in prizes.
Hey, you have a free option?
We have a free option, but
thank
you can't
goodness.
win
Okay.
any prizes. So
That's fine.
It's much better to pay and really get that adrenaline going.
Okay.
But JT,
I'm doing that.
Adam Cianciarulo will open up the PulpMX Fantasy Anaheim 1 as a handicap, non-all-star.
Mm-hmm.
Could get a lot of points.
He absolutely could. The question though is, where's he at? Where's he at for 20 minutes plus a lap? That is the question to me, because I firmly expect him to be at the front at some point in the night. I do.
So would
That's
you
just
pick
what
him
he
in
does.
PulpMX Fantasy?
I won't.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know what to expect. It's been too
All right.
long, too much time off. I'll be pulling for him. I'll be rooting for him because I like him. But
Which rider in here gets the most Pulp Mix Fantasy points in the year? Ferrandis, Cianciarulo,
For the
Musquin?
year.
For the year, or Plessinger. So this involves speed and staying on the track.
for the year, I go Marv.
Marv? Okay.
Yep.
Marv was
enough.
4th in points last year overall.
He was, yep.
Impressive.
And you put him in show 3. All right. Shine on SC1, MaximaUSA.com. Love the dogger.
Mm-hmm.
My shine on this, and this is bias,
Oh, straight up.
and this comes from the heart.
Okay.
I call it like it is.
Yeah, you do.
Sometimes not like it is, too.
Yeah, you do. Mm-hmm.
Shine on, Adam Cianciarulo.
Okay.
We need you. The sport needs you. Love the guy. Sport, great for the sport. Good dude. I've been friends with him a long time. That's it. Yeah.
I agree. That would be the feel-good story
Shine
to
on,
just
AC. And
get
do-
some rounds in.
Do I think it's going to go that way? I don't know, but I wanted to. I wanted to so badly. Shine on.
Okay. JT, who is your pick to fly out of this group of riders in 23?
I have to say the same guy. Who's going to fly?
Yeah.
It will be Adam Cianciarulo.
Oh.
How long he
Okay.
flies, I don't know. But he doesn't know how to do anything but go really fast. That's just the long and the short of it. So I hope for the best. Again, I'll be rooting for him. He's going to go really fast. There's no doubt in my mind about that. It's just for how long and for how many races do we get to see it?
You know, to your point of him saying he has to build a base, you were saying that as well. He and Chase Sexton, think of the lumps Chase Sexton has had to go through week in and week out for 3 seasons to get to the point where he's not just fast, but can battle a guy like Eli Tomac for a title. He has had to take lessons day after day, week in and week out, and Adam has missed all of those. So it's tempting. Yes, he was pulling away, I think, for the first lap of Oakland with one arm with a separated shoulder. But you got to just take those lessons, and you don't get them when you're not at the track.
Those dudes up front are no joke.
No.
Those
No.
guys are some of the gnarliest athletes in the world.
Sexton threw everything you could ever throw at someone, and somehow Eli Tomac still took an outdoor title from him. So it's a steep climb to get back to that level. But I would love to see these guys do it. This is kind of that every year we start with like 10 guys can win. We need this group of guys, Ferrandis, Cianciarulo, Plessinger, Musquin, to be in that mix to make it exciting this year. Want to thank our sponsors. That is Fly Racing, Maxxis, Maxima, and most importantly, our title sponsor, Monster Energy, basically because I got this drink and I'm really enjoying it right now. Don't forget, the Super Motocross World Championship. It's a 31-race series. The 17 rounds of Monster Energy AMA Supercross are part of that. We'll hand out the regular number 1 plate in Supercross, the regular number 1 plates in Pro Motocross, and then have 3 playoff rounds. It's $1 million to the 450 champ of just those playoff rounds.
A lot of money up for grabs. I'm
Yeah.
stoked that Supercross and Motocross have come together and working together. It's really good. These two sold out. I just want everybody to know that. But I will keep it real here. And the money is also great for these riders and teams and everybody.
Okay, yeah, we sold out.
The
Yeah.
real sellouts, as he mentions, nothing can go wrong with Blue Crew the entire time. Like every episode, Blue
And
Crew.
he's friends with Cianciarulo, and in the
They
next
love
episode,
the 23, right?
and in the next episode, we'll talk about
Bike
your
of the year.
yeah, pick bike of the year.
Bike of the year.
Wait to the next episode when we talk about Steve's LCQ challenge as stamped and endorsed by the good folks at Feld Motorsports.
Just giving back.
Yes. Go to supercrosslive.com for tickets to these races as I continue to sell out, and we'll see you at the races when you buy them. See you then.